Please go to finneganswakenotes.net for a full explanation of the text, and please don't forget to hit the like button.
Welcome to episode 29 of the Reading Finnegans Wake in 200 Sessions podcast, where we analyze Finnegans Wake by James Joyce 3 pages at a time. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment to support us.
And today, we're diving deep again, right into pages 93.22 through to 96.25 of Finnegans Wake.
Quite a chunk.
Yeah.
And it feels like a real turning point in this section of the book.
It really is. We're sort of wrapping up that whole intense focus on the letter, that mysterious document.
Yeah, the one everyone's gossiping about.
Exactly. And we move from some surprisingly high-flown philosophy right into, well, something much more earthy.
Earthy is one word for it. We get the four old men, the judges, essentially getting drunk and arguing, don't we?
That's the core of it. They're reminiscing, contradicting each other, talking about HCE's past, his reputation, and quite vividly, his overpowering smell.
So that's our mission for this deep dive. Unpack all of that. We'll be looking at everything from Sanskrit philosophy and Irish ballads to, well, legal jargon, sexual innuendo, and sewer gas, all filtered through the hazy, drunken memories of these judges.
Quite the mix.
Let's jump straight in. Page 93, line 22. It starts with this incredibly definitive statement. And so it all ended. Artha, Kama, Dharma, Moksha.
That feels huge, almost like the end of the world after all the chaos.
It does, doesn't it? It's
Sure.
it's Joyce using this classic Sanskrit formula. It covers the four traditional aims, or you could say pursuits of human life.
Okay, break those down for us.
Sure. You've got Artha, which is basically about material success, wealth, getting ahead in the world. Then Kama, that's pleasure, desire, love, the sensory side of life.
Right.
Then Dharma, that's duty, morality, living the right way, fulfilling your obligations. And finally Moksha, which is the ultimate goal, enlightenment, liberation, salvation.
So by listing all four, what's the implication here? That the whole messy business with the letter somehow contains all of that? Precisely. It's suggesting that the entire spectrum of human experience, from, basic survival instincts right up to spiritual seeking, is somehow wrapped up in this letter, even if the letter itself is just, well, rumor and maybe lies.
The whole cycle of life contained in gossip.
Hmm.
Okay, and then the very next line seems to offer a clue. Ask Cavia for the K. What's that about?
Well, Cavia is another Sanskrit word. It means poetic composition or maybe audible poetry. So Joyce seems to be saying the key to understanding this whole mess, maybe even to achieving moksha, lies within the poem itself, within the wake.
Don't look outside the text for answers.
Exactly. The meaning is embedded in the language and the performance of the text, although...
There's always an although with Joyce.
Right. K, or Kathy, also strongly suggests Kate, the woman who runs the museum in Phoenix Park, the keeper of the history, the gossip. So the poem and the gossip, the text and the source, they're kind of inseparable.
Okay, so we touched this high philosophical point. The key is in the poetry, and then bang, line 93.24, we're right back down in the muck.
The letter, the litter, and the soother, the bitter.
Yep, straight back to the core motif. It's playing on that phrase, deliver the letter, the sooner the better. But Joyce twists it, right? Soother and bitter, the sweet appeal of the gossip versus the bitter truth, perhaps. And the description of the letter's creation makes it sound completely fake. Utterly. Of eyebrow penciled, by Lipstipple penned. It screams female artifice, doesn't it? Makeup, lipstick, eyebrow pencil.
But Lipstipple, that sounds like more than just lipstick. Spittle.
I think so, yeah. It connects the act of writing the letter directly to, the moist, gossiping mouth, the rumor mill churning out this stuff.
And the content isn't just artificial, it's morally questionable too. Borrowing a word and begging the question and stealing tinder and slipping like soap.
It's a great list of dodgy dealings, borrowing, stealing, but the key one intellectually is begging the question.
The logical fallacy. Exactly. Where you assume the very thing you're trying to prove. The whole case against HCE, the whole rumor, it's built on assuming his guilt from the start, isn't it? There's no real proof offered, just assumptions.
Right, and this leads into that incredibly dense section, starting around 93.27. It's like a flood of Irish names, songs, poems. It's almost overwhelming.
Yeah.
What's the effect of just throwing all this cultural stuff at the reader?
I think the effect is precisely that, to show the letter isn't about one single clear fact. It's like a messy container, a litter, holding all these fragments of Irish memory. It's contradictory, romantic, sad, rebellious, all jumbled together.
So the scandal feels so big because it touches on everything in the national consciousness.
That's it. It resonates because it pulls in all these different threads. Let's try and follow that thread for a moment, piece by piece.
Okay, it starts with, from dark Rosaline, a sigh and a weep. That sounds like Mangan's poem, Dark Rosaline, the romantic name for Ireland.
Yeah, pure romantic melancholy. But then immediately shifts to hypocrisy, right? Lesbia loose the beam in her eye.
Thomas More meets the Bible.
Spot on. Moore's sentimental stuff mixed with that biblical warning about judging others when you've got your own bigger faults. The source of the gossip is tainted from the start.
Then the revolutionary side kicks in. From Lone Cooganberry, his arrow of song.
That's blending Gugimbar of the place with Kevin Barry, the young IRA guy who was executed. Heroism and martyrdom.
Which leads straight to John Kell's Ingram. Sean Kelly's anagram of slush at the name.
Yes. Ingram wrote The Memory of the Dead about the 1798 rebellion. The poem starts, "Who fears to speak of 98? Who blushes at the name?" So the letter carries that sense of national shame and pride, too.
It keeps coming. I am the Sullivan, that trumpeting tramp. T.D. Sullivan.
Yeah, his song God Save Ireland. It was sung to the tune of Tramp, 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 hence the trumpeting tramp. Very defiant, very nationalist.
But then it flips again. Suffering Dufferin, the Cid of her style.
Yeah.
That's much sadder.
Lady Dufferin's lament of the Irish immigrant. Very sentimental. And Cid of her style refers to her posture, but also the style, the little gait in the poem. So you get marching songs and mourning songs side by side.
And love songs, too. Kathleen May Vernon, her maybe fair efforts.
Kathleen Mavourneen, that line, "It may be for years and it may be forever. Love, but uncertain, maybe temporary."
Even famous figures get pulled in. Philpot Curran, his Scotch love MacCreather, John Philpot Curran.
Right, the orator. But he's reduced to McCree, my heart. Public life becomes private feeling.
And then Samuel Lever, or Damuel Lover.
That mashes up two novelists, Samuel Lever and Charles Lever, but also plays on that cynical phrase, love her and leave her, literary rivalry and romantic betrayal.
And of course, it has to end with the song that gives the book its name. Tim Finnegan's Weak Tribe's Loss of Strength to His So Wheel.
Back to Finnegans Wake. So this whole section, this catalog, shows the letters made from the cultural leftovers, the litter of Ireland history, romance, rebellion, sentimentality, betrayal, strength, weakness. It's all in there.
And the result of all this chaotic content. A slick stick picnic made in moat by Muldoons. Now, a Muldoons picnic, that's slang, isn't it?
It is. It means a complete shambles, a total mess, disorganized chaos. So the letter, this repository of cultural memory, actually causes social breakdown, a failed public event.
Which brings us to that really key line about HCE and ALP at 94.03. The solid man saved by his sillied woman. There's a lot packed in there.
Oh, definitely. It's playing with the Hamlet debate first. Is Hamlet's flesh too solid or too sullied?
So HCE is the solid man, the practical merchant.
Possibly. But he's saved by ALP, the sillied woman, maybe foolish, maybe morally questionable herself, sullied but ultimately loyal, the reliable wife saving the flawed husband.
And isn't there a music hall connection to the solid man?
Yeah, W.J. Ashcroft, a popular entertainer. So HCE is also maybe this kind of public figure, solid on the surface, but maybe a bit hollow or fragile underneath.
And his fall is echoed in the landscape itself. The elm that whimpers at the top told the stone that moans when stricken.
That's referencing Jonathan Swift's comment about fearing he'd die at the top first, like a lightning-struck elm, predicting his own mental decline.
And the stone.
That's the Leofail, the stone of destiny at Tara, which was supposed to pry out when the rightful High King of Ireland touched it. So HCE's fall is both personal, like Swift's fear, and national, like the silence of the stone for an unworthy king. It spans high and low.
Then the letter itself, the physical object, goes on a journey described like a riddle. Lines 94.05 to 07. Why frame it like that?
I think it emphasizes how the message gets passed around and corrupted, like a game of telephone almost. The agents involved are pretty mundane, even crude.
Wind broke it.
Yeah, breaking wind, flatulence, not exactly dignified.
Wave bore it.
The tide, the passage of time. Reed wrote it, Seiss ran with it, that's a groom. Hand tore it. Each step damages or distorts the original message. It leads to Wild Want War.
But the hen finds it in the end. Hen trieved it, pledging peace.
That's Biddy the hen, the one who later finds the manuscript in the rubbish dump. It's a little preview of the whole cycle of the wake itself: creation, destruction, rumor, and then rediscovery from the litter.
Okay. And then there's a kind of moral judgment on the letter. It was folded with cunning, sealed with crime, uptied by a harlot, undone by a child.
4 stages of its existence, each morally compromised. Cunning conception, criminal sealing, opened by someone disreputable, and finally understood or revealed by innocence, perhaps.
Followed by those big questions. It was life, but was it fair? It was free, but was it art? That echoes Kipling, doesn't it?
It does. But is it art? Questioning the value and purpose of this whole narrative, this whole life story contained in the letter.
And the conclusion is that HCE, the old hunks, reads it and understands it perfectly to perfection.
He gets the full picture of the case against him, and we see the immediate impact on the family around 94.11.
Right. Make Mary and Sissy so shy. ALP finds some humor. Izzy is embarrassed.
And for the sons, rub some shine off Shem. Takes him down a notch. Shine could also have a nasty racial overtone there too, unfortunately.
And put some shame into Sean. So the scandal actually humbles the twins a bit.
Seems so, but then the mood darkens again with Una and Ida spill famine with drought.
The twin sisters of Irish suffering, famine, and thirst.
Yeah, bringing immediate misery. And Agrippa spells out tribulations, which is tribulations but also hints at triple, maybe divination, foretelling woe.
And that leads to this really striking image. Ah, fructa, timid denides. What's going on there?
Okay, so fructa is German fear fruits, like a warning. It's mixed with that classical warning, beware of Greeks bearing gifts. But the key is the Danaides.
The daughters who kill their husbands.
Exactly. All 50 of them punished in Hades by having to eternally carry water in leaky jars. So they're forever thirsty.
Why bring them in here?
It connects so many themes. Spousal murder, obviously relevant given the letter's hints. Eternal punishment, but crucially, thirst. It links HCE's crime and the judgment against him to this archetype of feminine punishment and unquenchable thirst.
A thirst we're about to see the judges try to satisfy with drink.
Ah, okay. That sets up the next section nicely. But first, the text dissolves into numbers and gender confusion.
Total chaos. The nursery rhyme, Ina Milo Melman, Eeny Meeny Meeny Mo. Then that riff on Hamlet. Frey is Frau, and Swee is two, and Swoo is free.
Frau for woman, frailty, thy name is women, and the constant 2 versus 3 motif, like Issy versus Shem and Sean.
Yeah, and the imagery gets very physical, kind of grotesque at 94.80. A pair of sicko panties with amygdalin eyes.
Okay, panties is obvious, but sycophanties.
It combines panties with sycophant, meaning an informer or flatterer, and the Greek word sikon, which means fig, but was also slang for female genitalia.
Good grief. So alluring, deceptive, informing female sexuality. With amygdalin, almond eyes like Modigliani's paintings. Exactly that kind of vibe. And the fruits associated with them are equally unappealing. 1 old obster lumpy pumpkin and 3 meddlers.
A lumpy pumpkin and meddlers, which are only edible when they're basically rotten.
Right. Decay and ugliness are tied into this image of womanhood.
And the whole section seems to end by linking sin and the founding of cities. Fram, sin from sun, acity arose.
That's got to be Cain, right? The first son who commits the first murder, sin, and then builds the first city. It connects HCE's fall, his sin, to the very origin of Dublin, maybe all cities, and hints at the Felix Culpa, the fortunate fall, needing redemption by the son.
So after all that, what was the letter? The answer comes back as A.
Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. A cosmic answer that explains everything and nothing. The specific truth is still lost in the cycle.
Which is maybe the perfect transition. Because after that cosmic ambiguity, Joyce yanks us right back down to the most specific, mundane, and frankly flawed reality. The judges, page 94.23.
Yeah, the scene shifts dramatically. The 4 with them, sitting around up in their judges' chambers, in the muniment room of their marshalsea.
So they're in the records room, muniment room, of a Dublin jail marshalsea, supposedly deliberating.
Supposedly. But the vibe is immediately off. They're around their old traditional tables of the law, like so many Solons.
Playing on Solon, the wise lawgiver of Athens, or maybe Solomon the Magnificent, the lawgiver sultan, but really just so many average Joes.
Exactly. And what are these wise judges actually doing? Talking it over Rolf Fessum again, which sounds suspiciously like ordering another round of drinks.
The whole legal process seems soaked in booze. Suffering law the drink.
Brilliant, isn't it? Are they suffering under the law or suffering from the drink? Probably both.
And their oath. So help her goat and kiss the book.
A complete mockery of "so help me God" and "kiss the book." Boot boot is French for goat, so they're invoking the black mass ritual of kissing a goat's backside instead of swearing on the Bible. Their authority is totally debased.
They seem pretty pleased with themselves, though. The four of them, and thank court now there were no more of them.
Like a private club, yeah. And the immediate follow-up. So pass the push for port's sake. Be it soon. Pass the port, let's get on with the drinking.
And who are they drinking and gossiping about? No surprise there, 94.33. The bad father, the great how do you call him, and his old nickname, Dirty Daddy Pantaloons.
It's HCE, confirmed again. The lecherous old man, linked to Dear Dirty Dublin. And it's set against the backdrop of the War of the Two Roses, placing his scandal in deep historical time.
But the thing that really jumps out, the thing they seem obsessed with, is his smell.
Oh, absolutely. It's visceral. His moral corruption seems to manifest as this overwhelming physical stench. It's not just metaphorical bad odor, it's literal.
One judge says, I mind the gush off the mond like Ballybock manure works on a trade winds day.
It's very
Specific.
hyper-specific Dublin geography. Ballybough did have notorious manure works, so imagine that smell on a windy day. Plus, the Bach suggests goat, adding that extra layer of rankness, maybe lechery, to his gush or flatulence.
It's astonishingly crude. And then another judge tries to put a scientific spin on it.
Which makes it even funnier and more damning. I could smell him H2CE3 that would take a township's breath away.
H2CE3. So he's blending HCE's initials with the chemical formula for hydrogen sulfide, H2S.
Exactly. The foul, rotten egg gas associated with sewers and decay. HCE is toxic pollution. His moral rot is literally poisoning the air of Dublin. It's not just a private failing, it's a public nuisance.
No wonder people made fun of him.
Right. Line 95.03. The O'Moily Gracies and the O'Brien Rosies choffing him blutch-face and playing him pranks.
Grace O'Malley, the pirate queen, mixed with Bryony Rosie's brazen, maybe coarse women.
Yeah.
Blush face. What's that suggest?
Could be blushing red with embarrassment, like Field Marshal Blucher arriving too late. Or maybe even blackface, linking HCE again to that minstrel tradition, being mocked and imitated.
And now the judges, representing the four provinces, start to bicker amongst themselves. We get a northern voice.
Yeah, to do, North Mister, a bit dismissive.
Followed by a Munster voice, using yera.
Classic Cork expression of disbelief or emphasis. This voice wonders why ALP puts up with HCE, calling him that old gasometer with his whooping coppin and his dyin' boosie cough.
A gasometer like the Dublin landmark, but also meaning someone full of hot air, a windbag.
Precisely. And linking it to whooping cough, whooping coppin, supposedly cured by gasworks air, and maybe the playwright Dion Boucicault. It's multi-layered mockery.
And this voice suggests ALP, or Minxie Cunningham, their dear divorcee darling, is being chased by everyone else.
Yeah, all the birds of the South Side after her. Minnie Cunningham was a real male impersonator, which adds another layer of gender confusion. And the chasers are Jimmy's and Johnny's, Shem and Sean, the sons, maybe.
Then the Connacht voice cuts in, clearly fed up, 95.11. Hold hard, there's 3 other corners to our Isles Cork float.
A direct dig at the Cork judge's talkativeness. Don't think you're the only one, Cork.
And this Connacht judge gives a really vivid, almost aggressively sexual description of HCE.
He does. He sees him heaving up the K-wall by the 32 to 11, placing him physically by the Liffey keys, tied to that 11-132 number motif, and carrying lime-looking horse bags full of sesame seed.
Sesame seed as slang for semen, combined with open sesame.
Seems very likely, and he calls him the Whiteside Kaffir.
That links G.H. Sherwin, the blackface performer known as the White-Eyed Kaffir, with James Whiteside, a famous Dublin lawyer. Performance, law, racial caricature.
And the final image of HCE, puffing out his thundering big brown cabbage.
A cheap cigar, yes, but the implication is definitely phallic. And maybe foul-smelling, like cabbage.
Unmistakably, it's an image of bluster and perhaps impotence or unpleasantness, and this whole description is a setup.
A setup for what?
For the Connacht judge to boast about his own success with women, specifically contrasting himself with HCE. He recalls a first nighting.
A first date. Or something more illicit, like the droit du seigneur, the Lord's right to the wedding night.
Could be either. It happens down Sycamore Lane, which connects to a Dublin music hall. And the punchline is what the woman supposedly said.
Comparing the judge to HCE.
Directly, she calls the judge my perfume of the pompous, exotic, alluring, but HCE, he's dismissed as that big brewer's belch.
Ouch. Bad beer, bad breath, bad company.
Exactly. And she says she prefers one precious sip at your pure Mountain Dew over HCE's belch.
Mountain Dew, meaning poteen, illicit whiskey,
Mhm.
or maybe semen again.
Very possibly. It's a total takedown of HCE's attractiveness and virility. And interestingly, this anecdote might relate to a real incident involving Joyce's friend Roberto Prezioso making a pass at Nora Barnacle. The personal gossip is woven right in.
So the consensus among the judges, despite their arguments, is that HCE is not just morally flawed, but physically repellent and romantically inadequate.
That seems to be the drunken verdict so far. Which leads us into the final stretch, starting at 95.27, where things get even messier.
They're now called the fourbottle men, the Anal-ists.
Emphasizing the sheer amount they're drinking, their role as chroniclers, Anal-ists, and yes, the inevitable dirty pun.
Their speak starts breaking down, mixing Latin and Irish. Unguam, alonguam.
Ever, never, lap up, language dissolving into sound as the drink takes hold.
And they circle back to the actual incident. Her who's before and his whereafters, how she was lost away in the fern.
A clear echo of Molly Bloom and Leopold Bloom in the bracken on Houthhead in Ulysses.
And he was found deep in an ear.
Which could mean found dead, or maybe hints at that old superstition about earwigs crawling into sleeping people's ears. Deep secrets overheard, perhaps.
And the sounds of the encounter are described in detail for the benefit of the scandalmongers.
Yeah, the gossip mongers. We get the rustlings and the twitterings and the raspings and the snappings and the sighings and the paintings and the pantings and the cooings. It's intensely sensory, almost animalistic, feeding the voyeuristic gossip.
These gossips are also called pure craigs. Any significance there?
Maybe refers to the Pure and Pious Wars or Sir James Craig, the Ulster leader, implying perhaps a kind of puritanical, judgmental gossip network.
And Vico's cycle gets mapped onto the city again, living and lying and raiding and riding around Nunsbelly Square.
Nun's belly, that yellowish-colored Joyce associated with a rubber band, squaring the circle.
And raiding and riding suggest both judgment and sexual activity, all going in circles. Plus, buds in the bush is slang for genitals.
The Wars of the Roses theme concludes with, the rose is white in the dark.
The White Rose of York wins, maybe, but also the idea that in the dark, all distinctions blur, all cats are gray at night. Moral clarity is lost.
And this is where their agreement completely breaks down, isn't it? Around 96.04, they start contra-drinking.
Literally contradicting each other while drinking. Their collective memory just implodes. They argue over nursery rhymes like Lily Trilly, Law Pond, Hilly, Humpty Dumpty.
And Irish history. Mrs. Neal of the Nine Corsages instead of Knives of the Nine Hostages. Total confusion. They argue about King Mark of Cornwall, calling him the old Marcus their besterfar. Grandfather best by far. They mix him up with Marcus Manlius, the Roman populist whose name became taboo.
Historical facts are just dissolving into drunken nonsense.
Completely. They mention dear Sir Armory, queer Sir Rumory, and the old house by the Chirpalizid. Sir Amory Tristram, the founder linked to Chapelizid, gets fused with rumor itself.
And they seem to recall a time of piety, a retreat.
Yeah, going on retreat in the old Gameldags, old days, at Milltown Park, the Jesuit retreat house, under lovely Father Whisperer, suggesting confession, or maybe just more insinuation.
But that piety immediately gives way to more sexual memories.
Always does. Making her love with his stuff, the stuff in the languish of flowers. Stuff could be a stuffy nose from hay fever or slang for the penis, all mixed with the romantic language of flowers.
Checking wishy mushy. Female genitals again. Softness.
Seems likely. And the women involved are the saucy sisters, maybe playing on sausage, another slang term.
And the sounds associated with this encounter are almost like stage directions. Peep, peepit.
Pipette is apparently Malay slang for vagina.
Followed by ball round the garden, trickle, 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 triss, which suggests urination, making water, maybe playing on Thomas More's romantic poem, The Meeting of the Waters. High romance reduced to bodily functions. This descent into contradiction and crude memory culminates in that rapid-fire argument at 96.17.
It's brilliance. 4 distinct voices, 4 contradictory statements, perfectly capturing the end of the night pub argument. I differ with ye. Are you sure of yourself now? You're a liar, excuse me, I will not, and you're another.
Total breakdown of judicial process.
Utterly incompetent.
Right.
And Lully has to step in to keep the peace. Jean-Baptiste Lully, the composer, or maybe General Lally, holds the breach of the peace.
But it resolves surprisingly quickly. To give and to take, and to forego the past.
echoing the marriage vows, to have and to hold, forsaking all others. They agree to forget the past passions, the arguments, and all will be forgotten, or at least forgiven for now.
And what were they even arguing about in the end?
Something completely trivial, naturally. About her kindness pet and the shape of Oang's time.
So, Auld Lang Syne, for Auld Lang Syne, my dear, and the nature of time. Or maybe man, orang, Iggy's, all that fury over basically nothing.
Typical drunken argument, and it ends with reconciliation and another drink order. Well, all right, Lily, and shake hand, and Schenkus more.
Schenk uns med German for pour us more.
Followed by one last invocation, for Craig's sake. Be it suck. A final blend of, for Christ's sake, Sir James Craig, so be it, and maybe Sukat, St. Patrick's original name. Religion, politics, law, and drinking all mashed together in the final toast.
So we gone full circle for the grand Sanskrit aims of life.
All the way down to 4 drunk old men making up after a pointless argument so they can order more port. The judgment on HCE seems to be, let's just forget about it and keep drinking.
The review of the crime is complete. The witnesses are totally unreliable, contradicting themselves constantly. And the verdict is basically, let's move on. Conditional forgiveness as long as we forego the past.
Which leads to that final thought, that provocative idea from the source material commentary. It suggests HCE's escape from his grave, his supposed death, was like a fox escaping.
Right. That soundest sense now holds that by playing possum, our sacred ancestor saved his brush with his posterity.
So if the judges are drunk and unreliable, and if HCE might have just faked his own demise to save face, what does that tell you, the listener, about justice and history in this book?
Was the whole trial, the death, the burial, just a performance, a sham put on by HCE himself to get away with it all?
Is he still out there, having successfully played possum, ready for the whole cycle to start again? That's a lingering question as this section ends. What really happened to HCE?